What's going on, guys? My name is Arjun Sharma, and in this video I'm gonna be explaining about why I like the Xbox One controller better than the Xbox 360 controller. In my opinion, there are 5 reasons why I like the Xbox One controller better than the 360 controller. But without further ado, I'm gonna explain why I like the Xbox One controller better than the 360 controller. Number 1, the joysticks. The joysticks on the Xbox One controller have prominent micro texturing around the edges and are surrounded by a micro texture grip, meaning that it should be impossible for your thumbs to slip off. This also makes it more difficult to have a case of a thumb slippage, which is very good because this is absolutely necessary for marathon and competitive games. It really is, because if I'm playing a competitive game and I'm playing very competitively, my thumbs will never slip off. They'll just stay on the joysticks at all times and not slip off, which is good, because if they did slip off, it would mess me up during very competitive times. But another thing I also like about the joysticks is that on the Xbox One, the joysticks take 25% less force to move them compared to the 360s. The dead zone on the Xbox One controller has been tightened to the point that the smallest amount of movement can be registered by players. So coming at the number 2 spot, we have the D-pad. The Xbox One controller has a more traditional 4-way design rather than the 8-way design of the 360 controller, which is a very great thing. I like the 4-way design better than the 8-way. The 4-way design is better suited for use as individual keys in games that use them for item selection, and it fits other fighter games perfectly thanks to use the ability to perform sweeping movements. Another reason why I also like the Xbox One D-pad better than the 360 D-pad, because the D-pad on the 360 causes discomfort more quickly, and it's difficult to hit the 4 cardinal directions, which are up, down, left, right. Because the D-pad on the 360 controller favors diagonals, the D-pad on the Xbox One controller is also lower, meaning that it is more clickier. Yes, 4-way design is better because it's more suitable for individual keys, especially for item selecting. But coming at number 3 spot, we have the triggers. The triggers and bumpers are much wider and larger, making your fingers overlap between them feel much more natural when gaming. The triggers on the Xbox One controller also have a curved shape to improve ergonomics, as the user's fingers now naturally lie at an angle upon them, unlike the straighter design on Xbox 360 controllers. The bumpers were also made even with the triggers. The triggers themselves now have a smoother feel and were made more accurate on the Xbox One controller. Each trigger on the Xbox One controller features independent rumble motors called impulse triggers, which allow developers to program directional vibration. One trigger can be made to vibrate when firing a gun, or both can work to create feedback that indicates the direction of an incoming hit. I love the fact that the triggers on the Xbox One controllers are more wider, because that means this part of my finger right here can just stay over here. I don't have to press the triggers like this. Like on the 360 controller, for example, I have to press the triggers like this because they're not that wide, but on this I can just rest it like this, like I'm doing, rather than having to press it like this. That is why I like the Xbox One triggers better than the 360 controllers. They're wider, meaning that I can press the trigger like this rather than like this. You see that wide thing over here? I like that so much. Coming at the number 4 spot, we have the action buttons, aka ABXY. The reason why I like the action buttons of the Xbox One controller better than the 360, because the design of the action buttons on the Xbox One controller are revised to improve their legibility, meaning the quality of being clear enough to read, using a 3-layer design consisting of a black background, colored letter, and a clear covering intended to make the letter appear to hover inside it. Yeah, this means that it's easier to see the buttons clearly compared to the 360 controller. Another thing I also love about the action buttons of the Xbox One controller better is that the buttons on the Xbox One controller themselves are also spaced slightly closer together. The reason why I like that so much because it means that it is easier to access when a game requires short, sudden button presses during those overused QuickTime events, like slide canceling better. If I'm slide canceling on an Xbox One game, I can do literally this. Because of the fact that they're closer to each other. This is why I love the fact that the action buttons are closer to each other rather than further, because slide canceling is much more easier. I can slide cancel like this. So yeah, that is why I like the action buttons better. And the main reason why I like the action buttons better on the Xbox One controller than the 360 because they're close together, meaning that they're easier to access when a game requires short, sudden button presses during those overused QuickTime events. Slide canceling is one example of an overused QuickTime event because I can just press B and A together, because then I can just press B to A together quickly. Coming at the number 5 spot, another reason why I like the Xbox One controller better than the 360 controller, because the Xbox One controller is a slimmer, straighter design as opposed to the bulky, curved 360 one. But yeah, that is all I have to explain for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like rating on this video and comment about what do you think about my take, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.